Dear colleagues, today we are joined by our friends and global inspirations, Sergei Tihановский and Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. Dear Sergei, it is an honor and a joy to welcome you after 5 long years of brutal and unjust imprisonment by Lukashenko's regime. This House has been calling for your freedom since day one, and it's so good to see you finally free. Last year, this House signed a letter of intent on cooperation with the Belarusian Democratic Forces, which deepens our collaboration and condemns the acts of Lukashenko's regime. Now, dear friends and colleagues, we must build on this momentum and push for the release of the over 1,200 political prisoners still behind bars. And as you say, dear Svetlana, we can't stop. We have to keep working. So Sergei, Svetlana, your vocal defiance and your presence here today are proof that the fight for a free and democratic Belarus is alive and strong. Europe stands with you and will continue to support your efforts. Long live Europe and long live free Belarus.
Ladies, gentlemen, and respected guests, I'm not a professional diplomat. I'm still learning. So please allow me to speak frankly, with little political correctness, just like General Kellogg did recently. This is what he said, commenting his recent trips to Belarus. Quote, "We were establishing the lines of communication with Putin. We weren't going in there initially to get political prisoners out." Unquote. It is a smart tactic on behalf of American administration. I get it. Sometimes you need to talk to Mussolini before you talk to Hitler. The stakes are high. Americans are ready to pay for the services of a middleman. The middleman gets what he wants, but he gives out hostages in return. At one point of these talks, a few months ago, Lukashenko promised to release one big-name prisoner. That was my big lucky moment. At the time, my name was the most well-known in the West due to my wife's efforts. Lukashenko was trying hard to impress President Trump. That's why I got out. I managed to survive 5 years of solitary confinement in the hell of the Belarusian Gulag. Some of those I met there were not as lucky. We've been losing the best of our people. As for me, I know I would never have survived 20 years of my full sentence under those same conditions. The fate of Alexei Navalny was very much in store for me. There are still around 1,400 political prisoners in Belarus waiting for their turn to be free. And the number is growing by the day. We must get them all out. This issue has become my priority. But what about the country of Belarus? Is it a lost cause? During my time in prison, the dictator kept me completely isolated. No letters, no visits, no contact with the outside world. The only news I received was from state propaganda on the radio. It has been 4 months since my release, and I'm quickly catching up with the world. But it is painful to see that things have gotten worse. The business of changing regime in Belarus that I started with another leaders 5 years ago remains unfinished. In the summer of 2020, the people of Belarus showed they've had enough. The number of people which took to the streets against Lukashenko was astounding. If you were to scale up this number relative to the population in Russia, it would be the equivalent of 15 million people. No chance Putin would have survived such an open rebellion. For a short time, there was a moment we thought we could win. Some of the Lukashenko's government officials were expressing sympathy, but stayed hesitant. They didn't flip to the side of the people. Why? Because when the time came, the Russians showed up for the fight. Europeans did not. Because Europeans' hesitation, Belarus, a beautiful nation with strong Western European values, this nation which was totally ready to become a member of the EU. We were left alone, and Moscow took over. This was not only tragic and unfair, it was also a serious strategic mistake. By failing to stop Putin in Belarus, Europe made the war in Ukraine almost inevitable. Hundreds of thousands killed, billions of dollars wasted, and we don't see the end of it. Even if President Trump does the impossible and fighting stops tomorrow, a hybrid war would continue, and trillions of euros will be spent on the European defense. Just think how stupid it is. It could have cost a tiny fraction of this budget to change the game in Belarus in 2020. But that ship has sailed. So what should be done now? How do we win this war? And what role does Belarus play in this? In this complex, potentially a very long hybrid war, victory will come only to those who take the initiative. My message is simple. Europe not only needs to become an active player, Europe needs to become an active player in Belarus. Lukashenko is a cunning survivor, but he is not immortal. The transfer of power in Belarus is imminent. Here is the reality. Since 2020, the people of Belarus have not accepted the dictator. They did not love him back. They did not revolt because they are simply being wise, careful, and realistic. They understand that without any real allies, we are fighting a losing battle. Of course, Belarusians would love to join NATO, but after what happened in Ukraine, Belarusians will never believe we will ever be accepted. We are not that naive. So how we do solve this problem? What's the formula? The answer can be found in Europe's own history. Think about Finland. Think about the Finland before it joined NATO. Finland learned how to live next to a difficult neighbor and still build a successful, independent country without going to war. It was a careful balance, a smart strategy. Europe would benefit if Belarus became a neutral bridge between the EU and Russia. Belarusians would benefit as well. That would be good scenes for both sides, a definite win-win. But of course, Putin sees Belarus very differently. He sees it as a buffer zone, a military base he can use to pressure his neighbors, a country with limited independence, something like Chechnya, but in Central Europe. So how do we pull this? There's only one solution. We need a third player in this political game. For many decades, the United States has saved you hundreds of billions of dollars each year, holding the security umbrella, while Europeans were busy building social welfare state. But today, America cannot be fighting on all their battlefields in the Middle East, in Europe, and in Asia at the same time. It is Europe, not the United States, that should take a leading role on its eastern borders. It is Europe that should become the main partner in helping Belarus move toward democracy. You are big. You are strong. Your population is whopping 500 million. Your GDP makes up 17% of the world total. Your total spending on helping Ukraine is mere 0.1%. Something tells me you can be doing a lot more. You just need confidence. You just need leadership. You just need to get serious. We, the Belarusian democratic movement, have a plan. A plan how to become the next Finland of Eastern Europe. You have the tools, resources, and the strength to make it real. It's your call now, Europe. Don't let us down. Not like the last time. Живе Беларусь! Thank you very much.